afternoon, everyone. My name is Nathan. I'm from OJO Solutions. We are a technology solutions business. We're here today to talk about demystifying digital transformation. I'm here with my colleagues Jill, Georgie, and Deborah as well. And our aim is to do this in an interactive way. It says it's a workshop. We do plan to use it as a workshop, so not so much talking from me, more talking from yourselves. So, as a business, for us, we generally believe that technology can change the way that we operate. It can change the way we think about things, it can change the way that we deliver and understand how we are providing health services across the UK. We do that through developing person-centred technologies. We believe that technology only works well when we understand what the problem is in the first place, whether that is a small problem, a big problem, or an impossible problem to resolve. Technology, in many respects, can do anything that we want it to do. Now, it's not new, and I think we have a tendency when we think about digital technology particularly, and we think about digital transformation, that suddenly we're doing something which is scary and different. The reality is, since the Stone Age, we've had a thirst for technology. We've been inventing and creating technologies. It just happens that today those technologies are in a slightly more virtualized sense than they are in a physical sense. But they're the same. And if we look back to the Industrial Revolution and the challenges that created for us, we have those same challenges today. And so history can help us a lot, but we've been evolving and doing that for many years. Now, most of the technology we have today is actually been around since probably the 1950s, and it's all around us. There is a reality that we've been brought up into a world where now technology is the norm. There are more people who are digital natives than there are digital adopters, or immigrants as we call them. The challenge, however, when we look in the workplace is that we're not all digital natives. Most people in the workplace have not been brought up with technology, they're adopting into that. And that creates a challenge for us when we're thinking about how we want to operate and how we want to work, but also how our perceived customers or patients want to be able to receive that information and what they might want. And often there is a disparity between what we want at home and how we live and how we operate in a working environment. And we need to blend those things together. And we've seen a lot of technologies now which are much more, as we class as, consumer-led. We're thinking about things in a very different way in order to deliver that. And that's really what a lot of person-centered technology is about. It can feel very strange, most akin to this sort of world. This is actually a real device. It cracked me up. It's actually a USB keyboard which is designed to plug in and give you an offer. And actually, I believe that the typewriter actually moves along as well as you're typing. I thought, what a great invention. But why do we need that anyway? But it made me chuckle seeing it. I thought it was a good depiction of the dilemma, in that we need to use the right technologies in the right way. The capabilities of technology today far reach most of our understandings, and we can't forget that. I think the reality of today with artificial intelligence goes beyond our dreams. Machines are now thinking up things that we couldn't even think of, but it's also a reality of a lot of those technologies. They're trying to find a purpose, they're trying to find a means. And we always have to bring it back to the point of saying, actually, let's not be paralyzed by the opportunity of what technology could bring us, but actually, what is it we're trying to solve? Through the lens of then technology, how might that problem be solved? The opportunity for technology in the health space is immense, and I can only start to fathom some of those opportunities by describing a few. And the simplest way I'm going to describe that is in the way that technology exists. Good technology only ever exists to support and make our lives easier and healthier. That's what we're supposed to be doing with tech. Bad technology does all the opposites. And it might not feel like that when we're slave to emails and other things, but the reality is we've never had it so good. We've never had it so easy. Just last night we were having a conversation about how suddenly cloud type technologies have just appeared. We can just collaborate online and do things that we could never do before. Suddenly I can pretty much get a data connection anywhere. 4G's everywhere in London. It's suddenly there's lots of things that are starting to happen that have sort of subconsciously changed the way that we perceive how we're delivering. And you can see that in the more of an entertainment space. How much of us now just consume entertainment online without even thinking about it? And the world has come to an end if Netflix doesn't work. Making technology right in a health space has got to be about enabling humans, us, to be human, and creating the right relationship between the technology being machine-led and doing what it does brilliantly. Machines are great at computing, they're great at calculating, they're great at defining against rules, they're great at exploring and doing things that we don't do so well. But also, they're fantastic at enabling us to do things where we're a finite resource. Technology isn't, it can be infinite in that regard. And we're seeing that already. So be that we have the birth of many, many self-help apps, or the reality that most people turn to Dr. Google than they do a health professional. We're seeing the use of technology in many different ways. Whether we're describing that, we're prescribing it, or we're doing anything with it, it's happening around us. People will use each other and they will use user-generated led content in order to support that. That coupled with the rights of wearables and AI to allow us to monitor, support, diagnose, and do other things, it's there for us to grab. Illnesses are being prevented because of technology. Illnesses are being treated with technology. We can be better informed. We can allow people to become digital health citizens. Is it my data or is it your data? Who owns that? We can change the way we think about that, and we can use technology to help people to be informed in the same way as a health profession you would be informed. However, we can't overnight become digital experts, gurus. We have to accept the fact that we're all in a transition, and some of us are in different places to others. And so we have a maturing relationship with technology. We need to understand that, both in terms of where we are as colleagues and as employees of an organisation, as well as the citizens within that place consuming that technology. So someone who has been brought up with technology and there are maybe a 13, 14, 15-year-old person is going to have a really different way of wanting to interact and be quite happy talking on Snapchat and understanding information, probably doesn't care about having their data consumed by a phone and shared, versus someone who may be in their older generation or looking in their current generation, in their 40s, might be kind of considering, actually, I'm not quite sure about that. I've got a slight distrust. What are you doing with it? We have to understand all of those elements, both internally and externally. When we mature that relationship, it allows us to understand also about how far we can go. You can't just suddenly push technology out there and accept people to consume it. We have to change that mentality, we change the way that we're thinking about it. And that really leads us on to the exercise. So I appreciate it's after lunch. You're all probably full from that lovely lunch that we all had. And so we thought we'd start with a simple exercise. So on the handouts there is an activity, which is the one with the arrow on it, the two arrows. And the activity is, if you don't have one, you might have to share because we ran out of copies in order to do this. So the activity is a very simple one. And it's one just understanding where are you right now on your own model. So going across, there are some statements. Where do you sit in that? But also, where is your organisation in your perception in that journey? Just kind of have a look at that, have a think about that, and then talk to the person next to you and have a conversation around it. Just for 5 minutes.